She-Techers! I am so pleased to be with you, our next generation of women tech leaders and innovators. My name is Chowie Hoy. I'm with a company called MedCentral. And the latest and most relevant product we have is a COVID-19 antibody rapid test kit. Now, I'm certain you've heard of this little disease going around called COVID-19. We have a serology-based, which means blood-based, test kit that will detect if your body has made any antibodies to the COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus. So a standard person's immune system consists of S cells and T cells. Your S cells will basically go and spray paint anything they come across that doesn't belong in the body. And then your T cells, when they come across something that is spray painted by an S cell, they'll go ahead and destroy it, knowing that it's already been tagged to be eliminated. So what happens when your body first encounters a new virus, like the COVID-19 virus, for instance? Your S cell will use just a generic spray paint, and that's when your body makes an IgM antibody. Once the S cell is able to customize that spray paint specifically to the COVID-19 virus, then your body will transition to something called an IgG antibody. Now this is important because then it tells you what an acute response is, or an immediate recent response, recent exposure, and a long-term antibody that you might have and may be immune to something. And so the test kit that we have is really helpful because it tests for two things: IgMs, that lets you know if you've been recently exposed and might be possibly contagious, so you should self-isolate. And if you're past the point of infection and through the infection, it shows you your IgGs, how well you have built up your antibodies or immune system towards that specific virus. It's a super easy test to use. I'm excited to show you how it's done. This is an illustrative chart of a healthy person's IgM and IgG antibody response to a COVID-19 infection. Notice that one could possibly incubate the virus for 2 weeks. Notice that a person starts creating IgM antibodies at the point of infection, here, illustrated at day 0, and also where some people may start showing symptoms. Now here's the tricky thing about COVID-19. Some people may have such mild symptoms that they may not realize that they have symptoms at all. And so again, this is where seeing if a person is making IgM antibodies is helpful to know if they have been infected, especially if they don't even realize they're exhibiting symptoms. And then about a week in from infection, a healthy immune system's S cells will customize its spray paint to target the COVID-19 coronavirus and tag the viruses found within an infected body. This is where the body begins to create IgG antibodies. So you can see that there are 3 distinct phases of infection where seroconversion takes place. And to match that, our test can show you which phase you are in. The first phase is where a body is only creating IgM antibodies. The second phase is where a body is actually still making IgM antibodies, but also starting to create IgG antibodies. And the last phase is where a person has fully transitioned to the IgG antibodies. Now, with many other diseases, once you have IgG antibodies, you are considered immune. We don't quite know if that's the case for COVID-19. Lots of research powered by tech is currently underway to get this figured out. With the 3 different and distinct phases of infection, MedCentral's test will indicate what phase a person is in. Here is a handy-dandy chart of the different results you may get. These first 3 results indicate that you have been infected at some point in time and your body is responding the way it should, by creating protective antibodies. If you only see a control line, it means you have not been infected with COVID-19. And if you get a result without a control line, well, that means you need to redo the test. The control line is key to a valid test. This test can also give you results on the spot in 15 minutes. Unlike the swab tests that require test results to be figured out with a fancy machine in a lab,
you can see the result lines almost immediately. That said, this does not take the place of a molecular swab test. If anything, this serology test is complementary to it. And all it takes is a pinprick, also known as a finger stick, similar to what diabetics do on a daily basis to check their blood. Here is how easy the test can be. Here is an actual test taken by Utah's first confirmed COVID-19 case. Dr. Clement Chow is a geneticist at the University of Utah. Dr. Chow is only 38 years old, and he was in the hospital for 8 days, 5 of which were spent in the ICU. He has well documented his journey through his COVID-19 infection on Twitter, where he has a substantial following, and recently posted his test. Here he says, "I recently took a SARS-CoV-2 antibody test offered by MedCentral, a Utah company. Not surprisingly, I'm super IgG positive."
So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to hearing all about you and your adventures in tech.